what's going to happen within the next 10 years, the businesses will exchange the hands. It's about $10 trillion of assets will exchange the hands.
You would still tell somebody my age to go to university when they can, out of high school, take the same amount of money they would have spent on college and instead go buy a business? Leon.
Yes.
As I was doing the research for this episode, just sort of going through what your company does and sort of, your life and all the accomplishments you've had, it's been a little bit challenging. I guess just sort of compared to some of the other guests I've had, you're a little bit more ambiguous, I would say. Mm-hmm. So why don't we just start off with the first question, which I guess would be, if someone were to ask you, what do you do? What does your business do? What would you tell them?
Well, I do a lot of things. I have done a lot of things, but basically we do advisory for lower middle market businesses, private businesses, to advise owners on a business transition. That's basically what it is, what we do. I came to that throughout my entire life. I have done businesses on my own, a lot of businesses, mostly successfully. That's what we do.
So why don't we go back to sort of the beginning of your career, I guess. What would you say was your introduction to entrepreneurship?
Interesting question. I'm rather unique probably for that question. I came here when I was about 26 years old. I was born in the former Soviet Union. I had an opportunity to come here and enjoy the freedom here. And pretty much was educated there. I received my master's degree from one of the best universities in former Soviet Union in St. Petersburg. Then I studied here a little bit, received my master's degree from Northwestern University, and started to look for what to do here, even though I didn't speak any English. Still, my English is not as good as it should be. But I started to operate businesses almost right away. It was like an ocean for me. I didn't know where to go, what to do. But finally, I found few businesses that I became very successful. Initially in financial services, basically, doing some insurance work and whatnot. Then, after 6 years of operating very successful insurance agency, I started a professional soccer club. I played professional soccer myself, a couple of years here in the United States as well. Then I turned this club to the league because there was no money in this business, and started to do something else.
So yeah, you've sort of been like all over the place.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I guess the common theme between all of those is, that you were doing it yourself. You didn't necessarily go and take a job somewhere. You wanted to be in business for yourself. Was that was something that was, I'm assuming, was very important to you, especially leaving a country where you didn't have as much freedom?
Probably, yes. I didn't want to work for anybody. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know in what area I wanted to do. Then I started a pretty successful distribution business, somewhat in real estate a little bit. Then some Eastern European countries opened in late 80s and early 90s. We started trading with them. And So my distribution company was extremely successful. I had a partner there, then I sold the company to the partner. And that's how it started to my career, went to other companies. But I was always trying to make deals, that sort of things. Then we opened a pretty successful transfer agency of soccer players. It was U.S. company operating in Europe, and the soccer in the United States was not very important, so to speak, yet.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we're in the middle of World Cup in the United States. It's very interesting. I'm watching almost every game. I love it. But at that time, we really organized a very successful transfer agency and transferred 24 players in a major European soccer leagues like English Premier League, Bundesliga, and so forth, and made some good money. Well, that's where it started, probably, the business brokerage, so to speak, concept.
Yeah.
Because I had to learn some legal terms.
What was your master's degree? What did you study?
I studied math. I am major in applied math.
So a lot of this was sort of foreign to you, the business part of it.
Not really.
Oh, no.
It's kind of optimization,
Yeah.
statistics, probability. I have 2 degrees. One is also in management science, which is system control, automation control. Never worked in a math field, so to speak, as a professor or anybody. I was just applying my skills to the business. Networking in the business is extremely important as well. So I always had a team of people I could go to, ask for an advice, give an advice, communicate with people. That's very important.
So the way you began to go into brokering businesses was through selling your own business?
Maybe. But I consider myself to be very experienced in that because it's been almost more than 40 years in that area. Then I I joined the company where there were about 120 partners, one of the largest company in the U.S., where people do the intermediary work, advising buyers, sellers, mostly larger companies, on a buy and sell side. So I learned a lot. Most of the partners were Fortune 500, either CFO or even CEOs, and I was kind of a black sheep. I learned a lot and put some deals together, interesting, and learned a lot, really. That's where I learned a lot. But the general partner was a bit greedy, and then we moved to Illinois. I separated myself from this partnership, structured my own company, and started to really operate where I am now. Operate within the area of smaller to mid-sized companies, where I feel pretty good because I've been around with larger companies. I learn a lot. So that's where I am now.
So it's advisory for private equity, essentially?
No, we don't provide advisory. We originate businesses for private equity. Sometime when the business we represent may fit them. But we have a number of strategies, number of structures of designing the very interesting sales structure, recapitalization. I call myself and people who work with me We are the ownership transition advisory. If somebody owns the company, they want to see where to go. They need to have a succession plan. They need to have an exit plan. They may sometime have a transition the ownership to the family, not always to a third party. But that's what we analyze, and that's how we advise people what needs to be done.
You know, all of that is, it's very impressive. And even what you were saying before with the first thing that you're doing when you were working with, you know, huge companies, Fortune 500 companies, coming from a place that's very foreign to the idea of capitalism and business, and then coming to America and going almost sort of alone, or you weren't completely alone, but almost sort of like on your own against the world of business, and coming on the other end very successful. It's very impressive what you were able to do. How did you manage the feeling when you got there of, you know, this company, this economy is so big, and I'm just, you know, I just got here and I have basically nothing.
Well, I didn't go against anybody. In the contrary, I go with the flow, basically, looking what's what. And sometimes you don't take things for granted when you come here. When I come here, I had one daughter and one wife at that time. Then my son was born in the United States. Then my another son was born in the United States. That was interesting and important for me very much. I'm, so to speak, a very loyal family man. And to me, it's important. I also have 8 grandchildren at this stage. Yes, it was some sort of difficult in the beginning, but I didn't pay much of attention to difficulties. Whenever it was an opportunity, I went for it. That's all.
Sort of, is that something that you would recommend to people starting in business now, not to try to sort of combat whatever industry, but just sort of go along with what's happening and be more amicable and create deals?
Well, for younger people, not necessarily to go directly into the business. They need to have a little bit of experience because it's a bit different time nowadays. What's going to happen within the next 10 years, the businesses will exchange the hands. It's about $10 trillion of assets will exchange the hands. Most of the businesses in the United States owned by lower middle market companies, so to speak.
Yeah.
Owned privately, and some of the owners already aged. So baby boomers, they would need to sell their businesses somewhere to somebody. That's very important. The startup, to me, is sometimes very risky. I had no chance when I came here. I didn't have any money. I came here with $200 in my pocket, daughter in my hands. And so I need to do something. I had to do something. For boys like you, for example, or for somebody of your age, obviously you need to learn certain things. You went through university, college, I guess. After that, maybe work for a little bit, get some education, some experience, and then look for something for yourself. There will be available companies. Financing becomes very important for younger generation. Where to get the financing, how to arrange it, and whatnot. But it's all doable.
It's so interesting that you say that, because it's becoming something that's increasingly talked about now on social media. the sort of concept of owning a small business, like a service business, as opposed to just working, and that transfer that you mentioned from the older generation to the younger generation of small businesses. So is that what you would say is the best opportunity for young people right now?
I wouldn't say it's the best, but one of the best, I would say. Because there are a lot of younger people who are scientists, want to teach, want to be doctors, and work for some larger institutions. But some people in different professions, like, for example, a plumber or electrician,
Yeah.
properly trained person may own the business, for example, electrical company or HVAC, not necessarily have a college degree. You don't need to. You can work for the company and then buy it.
Yeah.
See how could structure it, and that's possible for everybody.
Even someone with very little money.
Yeah, you can get the partner, somebody, maybe family would help you, and you can get a loan through SBA as well. There are ways to acquire businesses. I mean, small businesses, the businesses we're talking about, 10, 20, $30 million businesses may not be affordable for the guys of your age in the beginning, but at a later stage, yes, everything is possible.
You would still tell somebody my age to go to university when they can, out of high school, take the same amount of money they would have spent on college and instead go buy a business?
It's a good idea. Probably, yes, I would advise to that. If someone is determined, someone who has somewhat business sense, someone who is curious in learning as he goes, learning the business as he goes into the business. Each and everybody's situation is different. You can adapt to what you want.
So, what person would you tell to go to college?
Well, anybody who wants to. Why
Anyone who
not?
wants to?
Everybody wants to get the higher education. Why not? But if someone wants to work or wants to pursue career right away in the business, why not?
So you don't think it's like a necessary thing?
It's necessary, in my opinion.
Okay, because there's a lot, sort of along with all that talk online of people buying small businesses and older people selling them. There's also now like a lot of people, young people who are deciding that they're going to skip college and they're going to go be a plumber or an electrician for a few years and then buy their business.
But it all depends what type of business you want to buy,
Yeah.
what type of industry you want to be in, what caliber of the business you want in terms of monetary caliber, how much. It's all depends.
And what sort of caliber of businesses do you deal with?
We deal with businesses probably somewhere in revenue, maybe 3-5 million on minimum size and up to maybe 50 million plus. We would not refuse to do business with $100 million in sales because we would know what to do. It's just more serious. But that's our range, maybe from $5 to $50 million in revenue. And we can structure deals differently than any broker because we do structure deals for the benefit of the seller. So that's why we call ourselves advisors of ownership transition.
How important is that, having a really good structure when you're selling a business?
Very important. Probably the most important. Because number one, you want to get a proper value for your business. That's number one. Number two, you want to get a tax advantage. You want to maintain the employees. You want to maintain the legacy in the company, the culture of the company. Because something, if you develop in 30 or 40 years being in the business, or even 20 years being in the business, you created something which you would want to continue. Obviously, you want to take chips off the table into your pocket because it's probably the most substantial asset of your life if you build a successful business. And people sometimes don't understand that. People don't realize that they need to have exit planning. They need to have a real plan for the business. How do you exit? What do you do? At certain time, maybe at certain time you want to change the business, maybe you want to do something else, but you already have something and you want to sell it. There is a value. How to get the most of this value and how do you plan that? And most of the people don't think about this. That's my experience. I see that every day. People say, well, I don't want to sell the business.
Yeah.
So don't. But you need to understand how to plan going forward. That's important.
I'm sure that there's a lot of people who don't even know that they can sell their business, or that it could be profitable to sell their business.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't understand sometimes that the business is sellable, number one. At what stage, you don't know. You don't sell the business when it's in the lowest part of your operation. You try to sell the business when it's up. But most people not only know when there is a time to sell, they don't know how to sell. It's a process. Number one, it's a process, and number two, there are different structures. How you can sell the business? You can sell the business to individual. You can sell the business to a financial buyer. You can sell the business to strategic buyer. You can sell the business to institutional buyer, a private equity firm. That's why they need people like us. And I'm not trying to promote ourselves, but it's important to have an advisor when you sell the business. It's not that expensive, but you get an advice of what to properly do. If you run the manufacturing company, for example, I don't give you an advice what to do in manufacturing. You know. But when you start selling the business, you take care of your business, but listen to us because we provide a good advice.
Yeah, I think that your business is also, I think it's uniquely positioned right now to be very successful because of what you just mentioned earlier with all the people selling their businesses. Do you see an increased demand for people who are looking for advice on how to do that?
Absolutely. The market is open. And it's not only, I can tell you about us a little bit more. I didn't come to the business as a financial guru, for example, or a certified financial advisor or somebody. I came as a business owner into this industry. I ran at least 15 businesses on my own. I know how the businesses run, what the problems are. Then I learn additional things, what I know. in terms of how to advise you operationally, what to do here and there in different businesses, and then how to structure really sale of the business, how to review your financials, how to evaluate your business. That's very important. More important than anything, you need to know what the value of your business is. So want to anticipate if you want to sell. Obviously, there are plenty of people now who want to sell. The market is very open.
Just as many people who are out there who want to sell, there's also a lot of people who want to buy. Do you have any advice for those people?
Of course, there are plenty of people who want to buy.
Yeah.
We have a Rolodex of people who are looking for businesses. We know what they want. Advice, obviously, to review the business. We only deal with profitable businesses. Otherwise, we don't do startups.
Venture capital. You don't do venture capital.
Not venture capital, maybe, but mostly not. We do private businesses, family-owned businesses, average size of about what I told you, $5 to $50 million in revenue. And if the business is profitable, then it's positioned to transition ownership. If it's not profitable, I would not advise any of the people you mentioned, like buyers, to buy that type of businesses. Business must be profitable. Then you value the business, then really I would advise the buyers to look at these type of businesses when they're profitable and not becoming obsolete in the near future. Because there is AI coming in, robotics. So there are many businesses becoming obsolete nowadays. So you need to think about this if you would be the buyer, what type of business to buy.
So that's an effect that you've seen on the market, AI?
I think it's a good thing for everybody, for seller, for buyers. AI would help you to find good businesses, more than likely. But you would still need somebody to negotiate for you, to advise you, to review the business, this and that. But AI is a good thing, in my opinion, absolutely, for any business.
Yeah. For a lot of people starting businesses, it's almost sort of like it's like an equalizer, because there's a lot of things that a business might need to do, whether it's, make a website or market that would cost tens of thousands of dollars, but now you could do it with AI for very, very cheap. So
Exactly. Yeah. The digital marketing, which is like website, search engine optimization or whatnot, those things are becoming a little bit obsolete, because you can really do through AI website or something. Maybe not as good,
yeah.
but still. I'm not an expert on that, but certain businesses you need to watch whether they're going to exist in 5 years from now or not. It's important.
Interesting.
I don't know which ones yet.
Do you have any guesses?
Like, for example, photography. You see, now we have all the photos on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Even though you still need to make a good photo and put it in the room in the house. But before that, this business was humongous. Printing machines, this and that. Nowadays, it's almost gone. I remember we used to sell photo equipment huge, like half of this room is a photo equipment. And nowadays, what if you have everything on the iPhone? You click, you're done. If you need to print it, you also send it through email somewhere, print it, and you have a picture.
So, I mean, you've definitely watched people make tremendous amounts of money, probably lose tremendous amounts of money throughout your career. What would you say is one of the most important things to do to preserve the money that you make from your business after you sell your business?
I didn't look for huge amounts of money to be made. I always was with my feet on the ground. Supporting the family, it's important to make enough money. And how to preserve it? Well, increase the business each and every year. Learn about the business, maintain the position in your market area, so to speak, and keep going. Well, but there are some, there are some very successful people in our lives,
Yeah.
a lifetime. I heard that Elon Musk is already $1 trillion man.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
It's crazy. That's great.
Yeah. A lot of people who are sort of in the industry of small businesses, especially service businesses, would say though that these companies, these AI companies that are making people billionaires and trillionaires, are very overvalued now.
Yeah, but those are AI, for example, companies, technology companies. We're talking about home service companies. They're not overvalued. The construction companies, distribution, engineering firms. Those are bread and butter business.
Yeah.
And they're not overvalued. Some of them may be, but then you let them know that you're overvalued, so you don't buy them. But technology companies, some, newer AI companies and whatnot, it's amazing. The valuations are unrealistic,
Yeah.
What can you do?
So would you say that owning a business like a home services business would be potentially safer than a technology business? Because whether or not the economy is up or down or technology is obsolete, people are always going to need their toilet to work and their lights to be on.
I can't answer it firmly. Obviously, some people will want to have a technology company, assume the higher risk, higher return, and get a real big, whereas smaller companies in price currently, like home service companies, you can touch them, you can see what they're doing, and if they're doing some good money, so you can develop them to a higher level. Maybe I just talked to the guy who runs the distribution company of air conditioning equipment. This year, he already exceeded $100 million in sales. And he competes with the big brand names. How he has done it? Hard work, good marketing, good management, this and that. So you don't find that many new companies which are maybe 5-10 years in the business achieving such results of $100 million in revenue.
Yeah. And a lot of these businesses aren't something that are like you would think about when you are coming into entrepreneurship. A lot of people idealize having a tech startup and being all over the news, but nobody thinks about the people who are distributing air conditioners who are making $100 million a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Agree with you.
Would you say there's money to be made in basically any industry?
I just we're industry agnostic, to be honest with you, when we deal with somebody. You asking question to someone to putting the deals together, that type of question, but I would not deal, for example, with restaurants. Primarily, it's a riskier business. Well, there are plenty of successful restaurants. I don't have anything against it, but I would not buy it personally because I don't know the business inside, and it's a riskier business than anything else. Bars, nightclubs, that type of thing. Entertainment industry is a different animal, so to speak. We are dealing with a very normal, so to speak, businesses. Home services, primarily distribution, light manufacturing, the businesses which we understand well. Sport management, maybe. It's an interesting area.
There's a lot of people who would be thinking about buying a business potentially, but they're worried that, if they leave their job to go buy a business, then and it doesn't work, then they won't have any money and they won't have a job. I think or would you say that it's a misconception that you have to go all in when you're buying a business? Can you still have a job and have one of these businesses and have an operator?
It all depends. I don't believe in this personally. I don't think so. You can make it if you are just a halfway in. If you decide to do something, then you check the business throughout.
Yeah.
You check the financials. You check the culture of the company. You check the management of the company. You see how a former owner can help you to understand the business and to learn for how long. And then when you buy the profitable business, if the numbers are correct and you hire a decent CPA who can tell you that the numbers are correct, then you'll calculate how much money can you make. Say you make $200,000 at your job, and when you switch to buying the company, you need to make at least $200,000 in order to support the family, and specifically for younger people.
Yeah.
If you have a family, you have kids, or even if you don't have kids and you make $200,000, you need to support the family. By working somewhere, you have that support for now. But then you decide, I want to do something on my own, so you jump somewhere. You buy the company. So you buy the company, make sure that the money which are left in the company, after all the expenses, financing and everything else, enough for you to sustain your level of living. It's very important. You don't jump into something without that support.
Yeah.
It's important.
So what you would say is to do your research, make sure everything is, as it should, and then to go all in once you're sure that you're ready to.
Financially and otherwise.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You don't jump into the business just, buy it, I'll take care of it, and then you find out that, hey, months ended and you didn't make anything.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? It's no good.
Do you think running one of these businesses is harder than people think it is?
Not usually, but there are a bunch of questions you need to answer for yourself. Business financials, whether you like the business or not, it's important. I enjoy what I do now so much, very much enjoy what I do. I'm not planning to retire, to be honest with you. But that's my job and that's my business, what I do, advisory. If you have HVAC business, someone may like it and enjoy it, which is great. We just sold recently a very, very good HVAC company. And the owner is happy because he got his value. He's still at work. He remains with the company. He wants to continue doing something. He still have a piece of action. He didn't sell the full company. He sold, I think, 80%. And it's very, very important. He enjoys, and the company which bought this is a substantial with the finances. They can help to develop this business from X amount of money to Y amount of money, and then at the end of the day, he can get a second bite. He can sell his 20, 30% of the company in 10 years, or 15 years, or 5 years, and get a substantial amount of money in addition to what he sold now. There are ways to structure it differently. You just need to talk to somebody who knows how to structure.
So, you mentioned at the beginning that you're a father and a grandfather. If you could give them, your kids and your grandkids, if there's one thing that you wish that they would have taken away from watching you and hearing about what you do, like a lesson, what would that be?
I wanted to build something for my kids to join me at the end of the day. And I had that pleasure, My youngest son is running with me. He's 41 now. Then my grandson, who is 25, is also involved. My middle son, who is 49 almost, is doing a lot of marketing for the company and helping us. So I achieved what I wanted to achieve for the kids and grandkids. So they can take it, learn it. I can teach them because they don't teach that in a Harvard Business School.
Yeah.
They don't. They can get a master's degree from me immediately. And they know finances. They need to know street, how to deal on the street, how to communicate with the owners. Others, my oldest grandson, who is 27, he just graduated Michigan Masters in Architecture and Real Estate Development. He got a huge job in Miami, by the way, in Florida, big time. So he calls me for an advice. I talk to him very often. The happiest thing in life is a family. And that's what I enjoy. Business is a business. I also enjoy it. I enjoy it to make my availability to others, to help people what they need to achieve. I want everybody to be happy in their lives, the seller and the buyer and everybody else. I don't want any confrontation on anything. I want to make sure when the process is completed, everybody is happy. And that's a part of my life, what we do. But behind that, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of knowledge, people knowledge primarily, industry knowledge, finances.
Would you say a lot of that stuff is something that you can only learn by doing it? Do you think you
Yes.
can learn that stuff in a book?
I believe in this exactly what you said. I believe in that you need to learn as you go. The general education is good if you know how to use it going forward. But when you get into the business, you need to learn every day. And to me, the day is waste if I didn't learn anything. Even now, I need to learn something every day, something new. And that makes me happy. And in a way, it makes you successful. It's very important to be curious, to study, to see something new in the area what you're developing, and go for it. It's very important. Like, I think more important than just a general education. Learn as you go.
Over your entire career, which is, more than 4 decades long, what would you say is the best piece of advice someone has ever gave you?
Not an advice, but something what I learned during the meeting, for example. We had a meeting and I learned something that I immediately knew that I would make millions of dollars. I heard something and I realized that I can develop the business, and I did develop the business and made a lot of money. And advice, concentrate more in something specific. And rather, I was spreading too thin. And I would probably achieve more if I would concentrate on something. That's why at the end of my career, I decided to just do what I do. Because at a point, I was running like 4 or 5 companies at one time in different areas. Was no good. Too much.
So we have a closing tradition on this podcast, where basically I ask a question that is from online, from a kid who's in high school or a kid who's in college who might want the opportunity to ask someone super successful like you a question, so they have the opportunity to do that. So the question that I have for you from him is, what's the difference between taking a risk and an educated risk and a reckless risk?
Huge difference, of course. Educated risk would give you an opportunity to do something proper, planned. Uneducated or just a reckless risk, sometimes it may reward you when you take some huge risk, and it's always a ratio between the risk and reward, and it depends on your personality. I would suggest take an educational risk always and see what the reward is of this risk, whether it's measurable or not. If you cannot measure your reward, taking a risk, don't take it. That's my advice.
Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today and talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Morris. It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot.